What's going on, YouTube? OCD for EDC here. And what I got for your face balls today, well, and then I just screw it up, but yeah. We are going to take an in-depth look at the brand new TwoSun TS234 Kodiak. We are going to do a full disassembly, and we're going to find out what is in this very strange knife. I have a pretty good idea of what's going on in there, but we're going to find out together. So that should be really interesting. But first, before we do that, we're going to open up a couple more brand new TwoSuns, which I think there are two in this package. So we'll use the 234 to cut her open. There we go. Two brand new TwoSuns. So I do not remember which models these are. Actually, I know what this one is now. This is actually a model that I had before. I really liked this model, and I sold it, the one that I had, and so I picked up another one. So, yeah, this one happens to be the TwoSun TS204 Bronc. This is, I think this was a collaboration, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I'm trying to move some stuff out of the way. This was a collaboration between Tepe Design, Mr. Sean Hassan, which is a wonderful knife designer from California, Northern California, and I think Matt Szymanski. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the Tepe Design logo right there, and then the MS logo right there. This one is number 112. It is in CPM S90V. It's just a fantastic little knife. Sweet little warnie. And I really dig the white G10 with the carbon fiber, the little red, everything about this knife. Titanium liners, hardened steel insert on the liner lock. You can see it right there. You can see the hardware. Just a amazing, amazing knife. And man, you can pick them up cheap. So awesome, awesome little knife. So the 204 Bronc. And what else do we have here? This is a brand new model here, and I cannot remember the number on it, but I will throw it up in the video description. Alright. Here it is. In true TwoSun fashion, it's slathered with oil, so let me wipe that off real quick. Look at that. Got some really nice textured titanium scales. Nice looking back spacer. Interesting pocket clip. Yeah. We'll see how that works out. Oh, got a channel there where the blade sits down into. That's pretty nice. So let's see if we can get a little Spidey flick. Oh yeah. So a little bit larger Wharncliffe blade here. So let's throw these down. Like I said, I don't remember the number on this one, but this one's the 204. This is the 234, and this one here. It's a night morning design, 14C28N. Really nice, lightweight, really comfortable in hand. Choked up position. Also feels really comfortable. Action is exactly what you would expect riding on ceramic bearings. Alright, well, before we start tearing apart this, the 234, let me get some of this junk out of the way. And we will then do a sharpness test real quick. I got too much stuff going on here. Okay. Alright, let's get the old sharpness tester out here and see what we're working with on these right out of the box. People seem to enjoy getting edge testing on the factory edges, so these are brand new right out of the box. A pair of Wharncliffes. We'll do the S90V first. 160, 160 grams. for the 204 Bronc. Pretty good result. You know, we're really looking for anything under 200 is really, really good for right out of the box. So pretty happy with that. Now, get her set up here. All right, now on the night morning design here. Here we go, here we go. 190, so just barely under the 200. So definitely not the best knife that I've tested, but really cool design. They definitely used all the length of that handle, you can see there, and action on it is really, really great. So pretty cool TwoSun knives there. All right, let's move this out of the way. Oop. All right, now we're going to get into this guy right here, the 234 Kodiak. So really from the outside, all you have is this one screw back here, and then the pivot, which I can just loosen it by hand. But my guess is we're going to see some more hardware underneath the carbon fiber here. Excuse me. So let's just get into it. So this is a T8 on the pocket clip. Hopefully we'll be able to remove the pocket clip here. Sometimes these can be pretty tight. Come on. Come on. There we go. Just working it up there. You can see the little skeleton flipping the bird there, which is pretty cool. Pretty basic pocket clip. It does work well. You can see the backside is milled out. Really nice pocket clip. Like I said, it definitely functions well. So no issues there. Ooh. Now, I just pushed that back, the pocket clip screw. I just pushed it through just so we could, because I'm going to have to remove the carbon fiber. So now, you could, if you needed to use a tool, you definitely could get something wide, either a spanner wrench or, just a flat, something that would fit down in those grooves and take that pivot off. So this side is internally threaded, if you can see that. And so this here is all one piece, it appears, and it's externally threaded. So now I'm going to stick a tool in here in the relief cut. Yeah, that's what I expected to see. Got some oil in there, but we've got a couple more screws in there. So those look to be T6. So, okay, so this screw here is actually going right into the stop pin there. It's an interesting construction. I'll set that off to the side. And then pull this back one. Now, I'm expecting, if you guys remember, if you watched the unboxing of this, it came with some loose ceramic balls. So I'm expecting to find loose ceramic bearings in here. Looks like we have a bearing backup plate here. You can see there, but I'm going to pop this side up. All right, there we go. So now you can see the loose ceramic balls. So when I unboxed this, I was just looking down through the side and could see what appeared to be detent balls, but they're actually not detent balls. They are ceramic ball bearings, and they're captured so they stay in place. So the blade just slides along those ceramic bearings. So you can see the detent hole there. You can see the detent track that it follows, but you can also see the track that that row of balls follows around there. And that would be the reason why you cannot, it's not the balls are not rotating or moving, so it's essentially like a detent on the blade the whole time, because those balls are just static. So you have the friction between, you've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 balls per side that are just rubbing on the blade surface. So, kind of interesting. So let's, so here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to use the lid to one of my little containers here that I use for tearing stuff down, and I'm going to set the balls in there once I find, here we go. Got my tweezers here, and I'm going to pop these balls out, hopefully, because they look like there's quite a bit of crud. If I can, let's see here. There's quite a bit of crud in and around the balls. So, actually, I'm going to grab a tool here. Here we go. I just grabbed a little pick right here, and I'm just going to attempt to pick the balls. A lot of ball talk in this video. Oop, there's 1, 2, 3. Huh. They're kind of stuck in the holes here. I expected them to come out easier. Oh boy. One of them went flying, so whether or not I find that one, we'll see. I don't know where it went. So that's, yeah, well, let me see if I can push this down now. There we go. That'll make life a little easier. Boy. The carbon fiber scale on this side is held in there pretty damn tight. Hopefully I'll be able to work that out of there without breaking anything. Grab another pair of tweezers here. We'll see if we can get this moving. Definitely an interesting design and interesting construction. There we go. Okay, that's what I was wanting, was to get this get the carbon fiber scale out of the equation here. Now I'm going to pull the 2 pins out. We'll just set those down over there. And now you can see there's another bearing plate on this side with a bunch of gunk and oil in there. I'm going to go ahead and pop that bearing plate out. And you can see a lot of the balls came with it. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but there's still a few of the balls stuck into the scale here. Or the liner. However you want to refer to it, I suppose. There we go. There's just one more. Okay. So all the balls are out. I'm just going to clean this up. Get all this gunk out of here. Excellent. Got a little boogered up spot in the titanium, as you can see right there. You couldn't see that with the scale in, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get that cleaned up. That's definitely just a boogered up spot in the titanium right there. You can see it bigger than shit. But when the carbon fiber is in, you cannot see that spot. Huh, interesting. Okay. So there we go. All right, now for the opposite side here. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna get the balls off the bearing plate here. Okay. The bearing plates are quite a bit thicker than I expected them to be, which is kind of interesting. You can see how thick those are, which is a good thing, so they don't deform under the tension, which is nice. I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen, you know, if they use really thin washers and then you tighten a pivot down, it'll cut the washer. That's something that you don't see a lot anymore, but when bearing knives first started to become really popular, there were several companies that did really thin washers, and they would cup out, and then it just kind of made for shit action. But okay, so now I'm just getting the balls out of the other side here. Nothing like dealing with a whole bunch of sticky little balls, huh? All right. Now we've got some more. Oop. One more. Okay. All right, now I think we're good to go here. Okay. So, construction on this is pretty interesting. Definitely a one-of-a-kind knife. There's no doubt about that. Build quality looks to be pretty good. There is that banged up spot on the one scale, but like I said, you can't see that when it's assembled. But, you know, obviously I would rather that not be there. However, I'm not going to get too worked up about it. Most people probably will never disassemble these knives. But there you go. So there you can see, this is the lock side. You got the insert with a ceramic ball. This is numbered here. If you can see that, it actually says 075 right there. So, I don't know. Let's see the other side here. Yep, and there's a 075 right there. Huh. Interesting. So there's your two scale, or your two liner scales, whatever you want to call them. Nice titanium. One of the things that I really liked about this knife is the stonewash on the blade. It's a really, really fantastic stonewash. I'm really happy to see TwoSun doing stonewashed blades. You know, most everything that TwoSun has done up to date have been satin. blades, just like this, which I don't mind satin. It looks good, but it fingerprints like crazy. And so there are some negatives to the satin finish. And so you can see this one here is also the satin. But this stone wash is very, very nice, and it is just glassy smooth. So it's a really, really good stone wash. So yeah, really happy with that, and that's going to hold up better. It's going to show wear better, and or not show wear as much, I guess. So there you go. Here's the pivot tube. Pretty interesting construction. So this is all one piece, and you can see the external threads there, and then the internal thread, and so that goes together just like so. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool knife, no doubt. Definitely a completely different take on a folding pocket knife. And that's, to me, is always interesting. So, I'm going to put all of the balls down on this microfiber cloth here. And we'll get them all cleaned up. I don't know if you guys can, yeah, I guess you can see what I'm doing here. They're covered in pretty thick a paste. There was oil, but then there was also like a paste style grease on the bearings and the bearing plate. But, this might be kind of an interesting one to do a little experimenting on. With how many balls there are around the circle, if you just put one ball in each one of these locations, and only had 6, so you've got a total of 12 balls on each side, that would probably free up the action quite a bit, just by way of reducing friction. It would be a little bit strange because there would be a little bit of blade movement where that ball would roll in that little bitty track. And so I'm sure you would feel that initial movement where all 6 balls were rolling just a little bit would go real free, and then when they hit the side, then it would get a little stiffer. But yeah, this was a complex knife for them to manufacture, no doubt. And they definitely did a good job with it. I think having a bearing system where the balls actually were rolling, I think would be, the action would be a lot better. Not that the action is smooth, but there's quite a bit of friction there. There's quite a bit of drag. So, but like I said, it is smooth. But maybe we'll try and only put a few of the balls back. We'll see. See what that looks like as we're going back together here. So hopefully this answered anybody's questions about this knife. And definitely a strange looking piece, that's for sure. But pretty cool. ZT had that model with a hole through the pivot. I can't remember, was it 606 or 404 or something? I can't remember what model number it was, but that that hole through the pivot was small, very small in comparison to this. This thing's got a gigantic hole, which is pretty interesting. Okay. Oh, good Lord, I'm a dumbass. Putting this back together. Oop. And forgot to put the bearing plate in. So, yep, okay, that's the correct one. I'm just going to check and make sure these screws are tight and these standoffs here. Okay. All right, now we're ready to go back together. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of KPL heavy, and I'm just going to drop a little dab in each one of these slots here. And that will keep the bearings stuck in place as I'm reassembling, as well as the bearing movement will distribute that lubricant. Okay, so boy, if that's how we're going to start off, this is going to be a long deal. I think I'm going to try just setting one ball into each bearing pocket and just see how that goes. You know, we'll learn together. If it's, I may be totally screwing up here and maybe taking this thing right back apart. But, you know, the bearings are well distributed around the circle. So there's going to be a lot of lateral support, even with one ball in each of those instead of having three. But we'll see what it looks like or how it feels in just a couple minutes here. It won't be a big deal to turn around and pop that apart and put the extra balls in if need be. But we're gonna find out. Okay, now I'm gonna take a little bit of KPL and I'm gonna put around this. Actually, I think it'll be easier to do this on the blade itself. Okay. And then I guess I'm going to put a little on the bearing surface here. Just in a few spots. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to put some KPL heavy down in the detent path. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to slide this off to the side for a moment. And then we're going to stick this side together. Alright. So I'm going to stick, actually, you know what? I'm going to use a little bit of KPL heavy. I'm going to stick it in a few locations just to that surface tension will hold this bearing plate in. Just a little bit. Okay. Excellent. There we go. Now, we'll come back and do a little KPL heavy in each one of the bearing pockets. Just like that. This will be interesting to see if this helps the action. I think it will. Should cut down on the friction quite a bit, I would think. Like I said, the lateral support should still be there. But I've been wrong before. Okay. A little bit of lube there. And let's stick this back together. Okay. Put that screw in, and that'll hold the whole assembly together, like so. And then we'll throw the other body screw in. I'll probably just leave the pocket clip in that. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Okay. I'm just going to throw this down quick, and then we'll screw the pivot together and then try her out and see what we're working with here. Okay. See if we got any. Yeah, it's a little loose. Got a little bit of blade play. Tighten it up a bit. Oh yeah, so there's your bearing travel right there. I can feel when the friction tightens up. You know, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't necessarily feel really any different, other than that first initial, you know, where the bearings roll. It's certainly a lot smoother, or you know, more free in that spot. But then where the bearings are riding, it honestly feels about like it did before. So I think I'll just go ahead and we'll put all the bearings in. I'm gonna have to see. First time I disassemble this thing, and I already got to break into the little bearing stash they sent along, because I shot one across the room here. But not a big deal. That's why they sent them along, so that's a good thing. Oop. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna set that right there, and then hopefully, excellent, the bearings all stayed in. I'm gonna use this box here to set the blade on. Okay. Kind of like playing Operation here. But like I said, definitely a really cool and interesting knife design. You know, I enjoy this kind of stuff. You know, when designers and manufacturers kind of go out on a limb and try something new and different. And this is definitely new and different. There's no doubt about that. Okay. So now all the balls are in that one. Must have got a little oil on my tweezers because the balls are trying to stick to them a little bit. But after the cleaning, these balls are not as sticky as they once were. So that's fantastic. And yep, I came up one ball short. So I'm going to have to break into the little ball stash here. Let me see. Nothing like breaking into your ball stash. And of course, now the dogs are barking right at the very end of this thing. So, you know, that's a thing. If it gets too bad, I'll just pause it and we'll end this in a moment when the cat or whatever mosquito that's outside stops. Hopefully I can get just one of these to come out. There it goes. Excellent. There we go. All right, dogs, come on, knock it off. We're right at the very end here, and they just can't help themselves. So I'm throwing a little KPL heavy back on to lubricate all the balls. Okay. This is definitely a lot of friction on this knife. So, you know, I suppose you could call it kind of like a friction folder, a locking friction folder, I suppose. But definitely an interesting construction, totally unique and different from anything else on the market that I've ever seen. So, let me get this placed back over, just like that. And get these screws in. I now know why the dogs were barking, because my wife and daughter just got home.
Hi, YouTube.
She says hello. All right. Get this one tightened up, and then we're on the downhill slide here. Excellent. Okay. Let me throw this scale on. Get the large nut on. And then we'll see where we're at. It's quite interesting, actually, because... Oh, that would be why. I didn't have the pivot anywhere close to being tight enough. But really, it doesn't seem to change it much as far as the level of friction, the number of balls in there. You can see there it's perfectly centered. Let's go ahead and get this pocket clip put back on, and then we'll kind of dial in the pivot. All right. Still have a little bit of blade play there. There we go. No blade play. Knife is perfectly centered, and action is it's better than what it was, but this is not a free dropping knife, that's for sure. It is, however, extremely comfortable in hand. It's quite thick, but this what appears to be like a flipper tab on the back really isn't. Personally, I think it's more for an area of jimping up here. It works really, really well in this kind of a grip with your index finger over that area. So I think that's more why it's there, and not really being a flipper tab. But you can use the fuller here and just slow roll it. So, you know, this is a one-hand operation for sure, but it's more like a friction folder or a back lock. I mean, it does lock without question. And you can, you know, grab the blade and do that kind of a thing. But there you can see the lockup there. Fairly early lockup, but totally secure, really, really stable, and super strong. You know, whether or not people use it with their finger through the pivot, I mean, my finger kind of fits in there. up to there, but it's not something that I would do on any sort of regular basis. But definitely an interesting piece. So I really enjoy getting to look at that kind of stuff. And like I said, I'll throw up in the description what the number on that one is. And there it is. And the 204 Bronc. So there you go, guys. That's what I had for your face balls today. Hopefully you enjoy that. And we'll catch you next time. I'm out.